Before I start this video, I wanted to remind everyone that these are the theories that I believe in recently. So you all know the obvious, that I believe in Michael being the younger brother, and I have held on to that idea and never let it go. However, here are some theories that I currently believe in. I now believe that the Vanny mask that we see in the Curse of Dreadbear level, Foxy's Corn Maze, originally belongs / was created by William Afton himself. And I wanted to thank this Reddit user for making this post and pointing out the evidence. I also believe that Cassidy is a relative to the Afton family, and it's because of this doc page created by Starlight Shadows, and I want to thank him for making that post. And I also believe that Cassidy is the first MCI victim because of the Help Wanted 2 gravestones and this Reddit post by Retro Beetle. And finally, I now currently believe that the missing children's incident takes place in 1983, but during the bite, and it's because of this video. But I also believe that Cassidy was the one who died before the events of the minigame. So without further ado, let's get right into the video and enjoy this narrative theory. So, for about 9 or 10 years from now, we were introduced to the purple guy, aka the man behind the slaughter, that was revealed to be the name William Afton in the first ever Five Nights at Freddy's book, The Silver Eyes. However, we need to solve his motives onto why. Why did he start to kill kids? Well, we definitely know that he murdered Charlotte Emily out of pure spite and envy towards Henry, and the rest is for the purpose of researching Remnant and the secrets to eternal life, and also for his sadistic pleasures. Now, many people say that he just discovers Remnant and kills for the fun of it and power. Pretty simple, isn't it? Well, yes, but I don't believe this is very satisfying towards his character, or it makes him a good written villain. Now, today, in this video, I am going to explore William's character and his childhood, taking a look into his backstory, so we can definitely find the reason on why he is the monster that he is. So, how am I so sure that Afton had a bad childhood? Well, these words from the Silver Eyes says it all. Quote, "It had occurred to Carlton years before that there were two types of nasty people. There were the obvious ones, like his 6th grade English teacher who yelled and threw erasers, or the kid in 5th grade who picked fights with smaller children after school. That type was easy. They are offensive, public, brutal, and undeniable. But then there was the other kind of petty tyrant who grew spiteful with their small scraps of power, feeling more and more abused by the year, by family who did not appreciate them, by neighbors who slighted them in impressionable ways, by a world that left them somehow lacking something essential. Before him stood someone who had spent so much of his life fighting like a concerted rat that he had taken on the mantle of Vader sadism as an integral part of himself. He would strike out against others and revel in their pain, feeling righteously that the world owed him his cruel pleasures." End quote. This right here is talking about William. It is heavily implied that he did not have a good childhood, and his parents did not appreciate him, and he was an outcast to the neighbors, and his connections to the circus, well, I believe that he admired the circus when he was a kid, and I believe he wanted to be a part of the circus to get the respect he deserved. However, that dream didn't come to him because the ringmaster treated him no different. But he grew fascinated with rabbits and learning that their rabbit's foot is a good luck charm. So he wanted to be a rabbit mascot. And that succeeded in a way. He created the first rabbit mask, aka the prototype version of the Vanny mask. But before he did that, he created Fredbear's singing show in possibly the mid-50s, and he made the Fredbear costume for that restaurant, and he finally got the respect he needed. However, that was cut short when he saw a carnival coming in the year 1970. When he first saw Henry, and Chica's party world was also part with his carnival. When William witnessed Henry creating the animatronics, he was admired by his work on how real they are, even jealous of it on how real it is. When William saw Henry for the first time, they both introduced themselves, and after that, they officially became working partners. That William was admired that he was finally going to get the respect that he deserves. Even in that year, he saw a woman and fell in love and gave birth to his firstborn son, Michael Afton, that he was getting even more praise and respect from the people around him, not because he had a full family, but running a thriving business as well. However, that year changed in 1976 when William's wife gave birth to Cassie, and not long after she was born, and a few hours or minutes later, she started to die from childbirth. William was so desperate that his public image would be destroyed. He got lost into his work trying to create Ballora just so he can get his public image back. That he started to become isolated from his own family. However, when he finished working on it, he was very disappointed of how it turned out, and he kept Ballora in his workshop. William went back to the Fall Fest traveling carnival, and he decided that he wanted to create his own type of building, that he thought that it would get more respect. He created the underground facility. He spent months creating it that would later become Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, that he would build an underground facility of a design just to build and rent out animatronics for parties. However, in those few months, William started to realize that he needed to save his public image. So, he found another woman, and they fell in love. The woman was going to be the current / the second wife of William Afton. And her husband passed away years after they had their first son, their first kid together. But after her first husband died, she was very desperate of finding another husband. So, months later, she did find another husband, which is William Afton. They both fell in love and spent a few months together. And in 1978, she gave birth to Elizabeth. William Afton was praised that his public image was finally saved. However, after he neglected his family and started working on the animatronics, this wasn't going out very well. In the year 1979, William and Henry opened up their very first restaurant, Fredbear's Family Diner, and William was praised on how successful the diner is, that they created two animatronics, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. William and Henry worked together to create the two Springboks, and as a bonus point, they even worked together to create 5 new animatronics, which would later become the Meteor Melodies. And it was going very smoothly until years later, in the year 1981, Mrs. Afton filed a divorce on William Afton. This was not a good look for him. So he needed to think of a plan fast in order to keep his public image safe. When they arrived at the courthouse, William thought of a great plan to keep his public image safe. He manipulated Elizabeth into saying wrong and messed up things about her mom in court. This ended up working. However, it came with a price of the current Mrs. Afton ending her own life. And because of that, William was so desperate that he went to Junior's every day. And from those days, he tried to drink his problems away, that his public image would be shattered into a million pieces. However, his jealousy towards Henry grew worse and worse as the time processes. And it was going smoothly of William Afton to use the drinks as a coping mechanism until the year 1982 on a Halloween night, when the bartender believes that William Afton had too many drinks. So he was kicked out of Junior's, and that is when he finally snapped. He drove to Fredbear's on October 31st, 1982. And when he got there, he saw Charlotte Emily locked outside of the diner. And this was his chance. Since he was so envied and jealous of Henry's success and perfect family, he needed to make Henry weak and vulnerable. And he did that by murdering Charlotte Emily outside of the building. And he drove off. He just wanted her gone, completely out of existence. However, unknowing to him, the puppet went outside and laid next to Charlotte, causing her to possess the puppet. And because of this, William started to notice it, and after weeks and months on noticing the puppet's weird behavior and the purple tear streaks on the mask, this had set Afton on a brand new path. A path to experiment the paranormal and the key to everlasting life. And he knew how to do it. That in 1983, during the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 mini-games, he started killing the 5 kids. He started with Cassidy, then Jeremy, then Gabriel, then Fritz, and finally Susie. So, here is how I believe Afton's origins play out. Year 1937, a year of the Great Depression. The parents of William gave birth to him, and after that, they had to move from the United Kingdom to Utah in the US, or the United States. They were at first kind parents to William, and they were finding ways to make money. However, years later, we get to the year 1949 when William was 12. He went to the circus and found it fascinating and hoped one day he would be a part of it. But sadly, his parents didn't appreciate him to, in fact, be a part of the show. When Afton was 3 years old, his parents stopped caring about him because of the Great Depression. They had no hope and started to become neglected and abusive to William. But when William got to the age of 12, he wishes to be a part of the circus. So he left his parents' house and was welcomed by the ringmaster. At this moment, he thought he was finally gonna get the attention and respect that he deserved. However, after 5 years in the circus, he got abused by the ringmaster as time goes on. When he got to the age of 17, he finally left the circus. And after he left, he witnessed a valley of rabbits. And when he saw them, he started doing his research and started to notice that there is a good luck charm. And a year later, William turned 18 and started his own business, which is Fredbear's singing show. It was blowing up, and William didn't spend much learning how to make real animatronics to be more realistic. So he made an endoskeleton and the Fredbear costume instead. And because of this, William finally got the respect that he deserves. It was going great until the year 1969, where he turned 32 years old and discovered an upcoming fall fest. When he saw it, he didn't care and continued running the show. However, 1 year later, he had no customers and decided to close down the singing show and went to the traveling carnival. At the traveling carnival, he saw a woman and fell in love with her. He also saw a man as well, and he saw untalented he is when he saw him opening Chica's party world and know how to make animatronics look convincingly real. William started to become jealous. However, he spent time with his loved one and they got married. And in 1971, the first Mrs. Afton gave birth to Michael. But William doesn't acknowledge that he had a kid. In the year 1973, the man that William was jealous to introduced himself and said that his name is Henry. And William, despite being jealous, he was also fascinated with Henry's work. And so then they officially become partners, and they both created the core 4 costumes. And because of that, William got the respect again, not just for having a business, but having a family as well. However, in the year 1976, William's wife gave birth to Cassidy. This was going great until 1 year later, William's wife died. Because of this, William was desperate, not because his wife died, but because he would lose the respect of having a perfect family at the carnival. He spent a few years creating a facility for an addition to the carnival. However, in the year 1977, after he finished Ballora, he was disappointed of not being realistic enough, and he abandoned it and found another woman who had a son, and her husband died. So they got remarried and had Elizabeth. Everything was going well. William got his fame back, and in 1979, William and Henry opened Fredbear's Family Diner with 2 animatronics, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. The diner was booming and successful, and everything was going smoothly, and they introduced new characters to the diner, and the core 4 as animatronics after they based it off of a carousel that they owned at Fall Fest. It was going good until the year 1981, when the second Mrs. Afton wanted a divorce. This is not good for William, because his public image would be destroyed again. So, on court day, he manipulated Elizabeth into saying wrong and messed up things about her mom in court. It ended up working, and Mrs. Afton, the second one, killed herself. William was devastated and completely shut out from the public, and he started going to juniors. He drank and drank every day, and he became more and more abusive towards his kids. This was going smoothly until the Halloween of 1982, when the bartender said he had too much and he got kicked out of juniors. After all that thinking, his envy grew larger. So he drove to Fredbear's out of spite at Henry. But when he got there, he saw Charlotte instead. So he got out of the car and he killed her just to keep Henry weak and vulnerable, because William wanted Charlotte Emily gone, disappeared from the distance. He drove back home, but made a stop to the mound of dirt and went to juniors to try to get back in, but was turned away by the bouncer. And so, when he got home, he wanted to go to his son's room, and he banged on the door after realizing that it was locked. He went outside only to find a broken window and promises that his son will be so sorry when he gets back. However, when Charlotte was dead, the puppet searched for her in the rain until he found her and laid beside her, and it caused her to possess the puppet, and it gave birth to the shadow entity. Months has passed. When Afton noticed the weird behaviors of the puppet and saw the purple tear tracks running down its eyes, he got fascinated, and it set him on a new path. That path to experiment the paranormal and life and death. And this is how he became the man he is today, before becoming Springtrap, Scrap Trap, and the agony inside of the network. In conclusion, William is nothing but a narcissist who only believes that he should be getting the respect and worship. A monster when he discovered the paranormal, and he is the one behind the white rabbit mask that we see in Curse of Dreadmare. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on that post notification bells so you won't miss any new uploads, and I will see you guys next time. Happy 10th anniversary to Five Nights at Freddy's, and that is it. Goodbye, everyone.